The Tascam 488 Mark II is probably the most popular 8-track cassette recorder ever made, and you can find them relatively easily on the second-hand market. I've had several requests from viewers to do a tutorial about how to use them recently, so I've decided to put one together today. Callum from the YouTube channel Tetracon's Super Monoblock has done a great job repairing it, so it's all working nicely now and ready to use. I'm going to record a song on the 488 and will cover the most common processes you're likely to need on this machine. I'll also add chapters to this video so you can skip to the techniques you're interested in if you're looking for a particular function. Before we record the first track, let's have a look at how things are laid out. The unit is divided into two main sections, with the mixer on the left and an 8-track recorder on the right. The mixer section has 8 channels routed via 4 buses, 2 of which are designated as left and right when mixing down in stereo. The input signal passes through the mixer so you can get the gain and EQ, then onto the master faders and multi-track recorder. This is the most important signal route and is called main mix. The next important settings are the Q mix and monitor switches, as they control what you hear while you're recording. Q mix is independent of what's going to tape, which is useful as it prevents you from accidentally bouncing previous recordings while laying down new stuff. We also have 7 monitor switches, but we'll get to that in a bit. Right, let's get started laying down the first track on this session so I can show you how things are set up. I've already worked out a beat on this 1980s drum machine and want to record it onto tracks 1 and 2. We need to attach a jack lead from the back of the RX5 and plug it into the line inputs on the 488. I'll press play on the drum machine so we can get a signal coming in, then switch the input selector to line and mic. I'm not going to add any EQ at the moment, so the next thing is to pan both channels to the left and right and press the assign switch 1 and 2. This sends a signal back to track 1 and 2 on the multi-track recorder section. We'll also need to turn up the channel faders so we can hear the incoming audio. We then need to choose how we monitor this signal, so I'm going to hit the groups 1 and 2 button. There you go, we can hear the material and see it on the meters. Let's check that the gain structure is okay and we're getting a good level hitting the tape. This starts with the output of the RX5, so I'll make that reasonably high, and then I'll fine adjust the balance with the trim pots on the 488. Right, let's now check the channel and master faders are all good. The final step is to press tracks 1 and 2 on the record function switches, and we can see the signal on the corresponding meters. I need to return the RX5 back to the start of the drum track. We'll then need to press record and pause first, then hit play to start recording. I'll wait a few seconds to make sure we've missed the leader section of the tape, and then press play on the RX5 to start the performance. This would be a similar process for recording with a live drum kit, but you'd obviously be using mics rather than the line inputs. Okay, that's finished, so let's press return to 0 and hear what it sounds like. Before we can hear anything, we'll have to swap this over to tape for input, and we'll also need to turn off the group function button so it's not recording anymore. Alright, let's press play and see what it sounds like. Yeah, that seems to be recorded okay. I think we can move on to the next part then. I'll want to lay down a guitar part next on track 3. I've got my Fender Champ mic'd up with a SM57 and we'll be playing my 3-string cigar box guitar. So I just need to unplug the drum machine first of all, then plug in the mic. I'm still going to use channel 1 on the mixer, but we'll assign it to track 3 by pressing the lower switch and panning hard left. We need to use the Q monitoring now so we don't bounce the drums onto the guitar track. So I'm going to hit group 3 to get the guitar recording to track 3. And tape Q so we can hear back what's on track 1 and 2. We'll also need to select group 3 on the record function switch, and we mustn't forget to put channel 2 onto line and also turn up the tape Q so we can hear track 2 on the monitor. Now there's a few things to clarify there, so let me show you what I mean by doing a little demo. So this is the guitar mic. I'm going to talk into that at the same time as playing the drums. Now if you press play you won't hear anything first of all because we need to turn up the tape Q master. So if we do that, there we go. So you now hear the drums coming through, and let's talk into the mic. Hello 1 2, testing. Alright, so you can hear the voice coming through now as well. Okay, that's all set up now, so let me put the mic back on the guitar amp. Right, let's hit record and go for a take. Okay, let's take a listen to see if everything sounds all right. So I just need to turn up the tape cue for the guitar part. Actually, I might as well turn those down for the moment because they're irrelevant, and turn off the group of signs. Then let's press play. Yeah, it's a bit hot, but I think that'll work okay for the track. It sounds all right to me. Let's move on to the next part. It might seem a bit back to front, but I'm going to add the main vocals next on track 4. The reason is I want to have enough available tracks left to bounce the backing vocals together on the remaining tracks. I also prefer having the main part down first so I can get the timing right with the backings. Liam from the band will be singing the lead vocals in this one, and I'll be doing some harmony parts. I'm using this Rode condenser mic and will run it through a compressor to help tame the dynamic range. I'll attach the compressor into the insert point on channel 1. You just need a send and return cable like this. The stereo end goes into the insert point and the two other ends go into the ins and outs on the compressor. We then need to plug in the microphone into the 488 and turn the phantom power on, which is around the back of the unit. On the 488 it's going to be a similar setup to last time when we recorded the guitar. So I'm still using channel 1 on the mixer to get my audio in. It's currently set to line, so that's all good. I need to reassign it to 3 and 4. But I've got the pan control going to the right, which means it only goes to track 4 on the recorder. I've already pressed the group assign button, so you can see that flashing in the background there. So let's just check we've got a signal coming through. I'm just going to speak into the mic. Okay, testing. Yeah, great. So we've got a signal coming through, so that's all good. I can now get Liam in the room and check the settings on the compressor. Right, so currently everything's not engaged on the compressor, so I'm going to get Liam to sing, then I'll pop the compressor in and we'll see how it compares. We've also got these presets across the top. Don't know if you can read them or not, but currently it's on electric guitar. So I'm going to swap through. I mean, we've got vocals on number 13, but sometimes the other ones seem to suit better. Right, here we go. All right, ready, Liam?
You want to be in those happy times.
So that's without compression.
Get your hands out. Let it all just hang out.
Okay, so you can see a bit of gain reduction happening.
Wanna be everywhere,
Reduce that slightly.
but I can't hold.
And increase the makeup gain.
Go.
So that's electric guitars. Let's try the other presets.
Highs and lows take me right back to happier times.
So that's the vocal one. Maybe slightly less compression.
Take me right back to happier times.
So crunch is pretty full on. I quite like it, but I'm going to reduce it.
Higher than a T-bird fly. Hold your head up.
Maybe a little bit less still.
Shake your body out. If you want to be the one that takes it home.
Yeah, it's a bit aggressive. Let's go back to the vocals.
You just take a ride. Highs and lows. Take me right back to happy.
That sounds okay, so we'll go for a take. So same process as before, we hit pause and record, and then play to get going. Liam's just finished doing his take, so I'm now going to move on to the backing vocals. Now it's going to be a similar thing as before, where we're going to record through channel 1 and just assign it to the next track. So tracks 5, 6 and 7. I'll do that off camera so the video is a bit shorter, and we'll come back once I've finished so you can hear what they sound like together. I managed to get the vocals done last night, but ran out of time to do the next part of the video, so let's get back on it today. Alright, so I've rewinded to the start of the track. We've got the backing vocals on 5, 6 and 7, so I need to turn up the tape cue on these tracks now. Actually, we need to turn up track 4 as well, because that has the main vocals on it. Then we've got the backing vocals on the subsequent tracks, so that should now be coming through on the tape monitor when we press play, so let's have a listen.
But I can't hold, 'cause I just can't go. 'Cause I'm here for life now. Through highs and lows, take me right back to happier times.
There you go, so you get an idea of the vocals. They sound okay at the moment. Next thing is to get those bounced onto one track. So we've got these three going to be bounced down onto track 8. Let me show you how to do that now. We need to switch the inputs onto tape for channels 5, 6 and 7 and to line for track 8. We will also need to pan all of those channels to the right so they're going to the same bus. We then have to turn the lower group buttons on here and check that the monitor switch is engaged for groups 3 and 4. This will direct tracks 5 to 7 to track 8 on the recorder. Just need to hit the record function switch 2. Right, let me show you that in action so we can make sure everything's working properly. There's also a couple more things to do first, believe it or not. We have to raise up the faders for the channels we want to bounce onto track 8 and track 8 itself. And so we don't get confused, you also need to turn down the tape cue so it's not coming through in two places into the monitors. The other thing I'm going to do as I'm listening back is a little bit of EQ work on the backing vocals too, because it might be a bit bassy as it stands. Anyway, let's press play and have a listen.
Let it all just hang out, but I can't hold, 'cause I just can't go.
Yeah, so you can see it there kind of popping up on track 8 as it comes through. I think this is the lower vocal, which is a bit too overpowering at the moment, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. And these are two higher harmonies, and I'm also just going to cut out some of the low end of all of those, as we're not going to need that much bass in the backing vocals. Let's play on and have a listen. Chorus.
Through highs and lows, right back to happier times. Through highs and lows, right back to happy.
Okay, that sounds about right. So going to go for a take now and bounce it and record it onto track 8. If it doesn't work out, I can always do it again as long as I don't wipe over what's on these tracks. All right, same as each other time we've done this, so we're going to press pause and record together, press play, and let's go. Okay, that's all done now and recorded onto track 8. Let's just change things around a bit. So I'm going to turn down the faders on 5, 6 and 7, and for the matter of fact 8 as well. But turn up the tape cue for 8. So what we should be hearing is the bounce track. Let's turn everything else down so we just hear the bounce vocal so you can get a better idea how they're sounding. Okay, here we go.
Through highs and lows.
Okay, so that seems all right. I'm now going to wipe these 3 tracks. We've got those spare to do some overdubs and move on to the next section. I've finished doing the rest of the recording off camera, so we now have a bass part, a lead guitar part and a few vocal samples to add to the harmonies. And we're now ready to get set up for the final mix. One thing that I've been asked questions about in previous videos is how to use an external effects unit with a Porta Studio. So that's what we're going to look at in this section. The 4A8 Mark II has 2 effect sends per channel, although today I'm only going to use 1. It's pretty simple to set up, we just need a couple of jack leads. We need 1 lead to plug into the effects send, which is on the top of the board over here. There's effects send 1, and that will go to the input of the effects unit. We'll then need a stereo jack lead, which goes from the back of the effects unit and comes back into the returns on channel 9 and 10. Before we can use the effects, we need to put the machine into mixdown mode. So we need to have everything reset so the tape is the source. I'm going to flick that over on the top here on the input selectors. We also need to select assign 1 and 2 for all tracks. I'm going to raise them up about to unity gain here so we get a signal coming through. Other thing to do, so the effects are coming in on 9 and 10. So we have to assign that to 1 and 2 as well for the monitors. So all the tape channels and all the effects returns are going to come to the stereo channel there. I've currently got the effects send master turned up about halfway. So again, you can hear the effects coming in. Now I'm only really interested in putting effects on the vocals for this track. So we've got the main vocals on track 4, and I've already turned the effects sends up a little bit there. And the backing vocals, as you probably remember, are on track 8. So I'll have that about halfway through as well. So this is the effects unit I've got running. I've got it on a spring reverb at the moment, which, you know, hopefully will fit the track, but I can play around that a bit and try some other effects as well. Let's have a little listen to how things sound and take it from there.
You wanna be in those happy times. Well, get your hands out.
Right, let's turn everything else off.
Hang out.
apart from the vocals.
I wanna be here, wanna be there, wanna be everywhere.
So you can hear it there on the main
But
vocals.
I can't hope, 'cause I just can't go. 'Cause I'm here for life now through highs and lows.
Well, that sounds okay. I don't think I want that much effects on the main vocal really, so I'm going to turn that down. I'll put the rest of the mix back in now so you can see what it sounds like in context. So I'm going to assign groups 1 and 2 for all the other tracks again.
Times, feel my soul. Lifeline, don't let it go. When they ebb and flow, take me straight back to happier times. Break down.
Great, so that's roughly where I want it to be. The next step is to do the mix down now, so we're going to move on and look at that. I'm going to keep this section relatively brief because I've already got another video where I look at mixing down on this particular machine, so I'll put a link to that in the description. But yeah, let's go through the basics now. You're going to need another stereo jack lead to connect from the output on here to plug it into your audio device. Now that could be a computer, it could be a reel-to-reel recorder, a cassette recorder, etc. Doesn't matter too much, the same principles remain. So we need to plug it into the line out first of all, which is across on the back here. And the other end needs to go into your 2-track recorder. The way I usually like to start a mix is by getting a rough level, by checking the faders up and seeing where things are. I've already done that to a certain extent, but we'll have a little listen now and check where it's at. So bass is on 5, maybe turn that down just a touch.
You wanna be in those happy times.
And maybe the main vocals down a little bit.
Let it all just hang out. I wanna be here, wanna be there, wanna be everywhere.
I might take the guitar down just a little smidgen as well.
Hope, 'cause I just can't go.
Yes, I'm really happy with that as a starting point. Now, quite lucky in this machine, it has sweepable mids, so you can go from 250 up to 5k. Then you can cut or boost your chosen frequency. I'll do a demonstration of how I would EQ the main vocals now, and I'll do the rest of the instruments off the camera to save some time. If you want to solo a track, you need to unassign all the other buttons. So it's better to think of these buttons being mute switches really. Pressing in means you can hear it, and out means it's going to be silenced. So I just want to leave on track 4 for the vocals and press play.
'Cause I'm here for life now through high.
I'm going to cut a little bit of the mids out there, so it's currently 1k.
Right back to happier times.
I'll sweep it around a bit,
Through highs
a bit lower.
and lows, take me right back to happier times.
It sounds better to me with a subtle cut at around 800 Hz. Let's bring all the other instruments back in and we'll listen to a bit of the chorus next.
For the fire, you better be having a cheaper fire to hold your head up.
I'm going to take the guitar down a bit further
If you wanna
and boost the main vocals a bit more.
takes the prize home with an easy flow. Sit right down next to me, girl. Through high.
Okay, that sounds about right. Now, the backing vocals, I want to pan them slightly left and right to give it a bit more stereo width. Let's play on and have a listen.
Hello, to find those happier times. Feel my soul, lifeline, don't let it go.
I'm going to leave it there for the mix section of this video, and if you want any more tips, please check out my other tutorial in the link. I'm also going to post this track to our Bandcamp account, so if you want to listen to the whole thing, you can check it out there. I'll pop a link in the description. Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you've got any other questions about the machine, or you've got some tips and ideas you'd like to share, please pop a comment down below. And as ever, thanks for watching, and hope to see you on the next one.